Hey, and welcome back to PCP, Pop Culture Preservation. Last week, you guys gave us like 1,000 some odd views, so that's pretty cool. Let's double it to 3,000 views. Boom, nailed the math.
Well, I was homesick, so first of all, I appreciate everyone tuning in for the second episode because I missed it.
Yeah,
that was appreciated.
way more people tuned in without Jay. So if you guys don't like Jay, just leave a comment below, something to the effect of, get out of here forever. Who needs you?
You know, I'm starting to feel like
Guys,
that's going to happen.
this is Jay.
Hi, I'm Jay. Nice
This
to
is
meet
Jay.
everybody again.
Here with Kevin.
It's Kevin, Team
Wait,
OneUpEm.
that'd be 2,000.
It would be 2,000.
I'm Kevin.
Kevin.
He's Kevin.
He's special.
Guys, what are we talking about today?
The rise of Sony Playstation.
PlayStation.
Whoa, I feel like they might have known that. By the way, this isn't a graphic right here. This is a thing.
Smoke and mirrors.
That's right. That's
Magic.
right.
Over there we've got a
PlayStation 1.
Well,
And then we've got a-
PlayStation.
PlayStation 2 Slim.
Slim.
We could have dumped a bunch of PlayStations out. I mean, listen, it's one of the most popular consoles of all time. We didn't feel like we needed to dump a bunch of PlayStations out on the table. You get the gist. But the backstory about how PlayStation came to an existence is truly the special story. Well, maybe you want to jump on this one, actually? I think you're the expert.
Oh, sure. So, originally, PlayStation, owned by Sony, they were working hand in hand with Nintendo to develop some sort of a CD-based system. And eventually, Nintendo sort of backed out of their deal, caused a ton of pain on Sony's end, and ended up coming out with the N64 instead of a CD-based system. It even got to the sort of the point where there's some prototypes that existed, and just a few years back, one of those surfaced. It's one of a thousand things called the Holy Grail.
I've seen it in person. I've seen it in person. What's really amazing about the Nintendo Sony, what would have been the greatest partnership Nintendo ever did. We'll give a quick background. What was in development was to actually have a peripheral, like an attachment to the original SNES, very similar to the Sega CD with the Sega Genesis. And what happened was Nintendo just wasn't happy with the deal that they cut with Sony. They felt like they were going to get pushed out of the market with the rights to the games themselves. So in true horrific, I guess, scumbag style, I would say, they backed out publicly without even warning Sony. So here's, and now we're talking Japanese culture here, man. Like, like it's bad enough you do that here, but that stuff is taken really seriously because that is like, not only was it a major disrespectful thing to do, but I mean, like, you also had Sony, come out and make these big announcements, and right out from under them, boom, I'm Nintendo, I'm gonna work with Philips. Amazing stuff.
Worked out for Sony.
Sure did.
They're doing pretty good.
Sure did. You're looking
Been on the top of the heap for, well,
yeah,
I think they've been unseated,
well,
though.
They have been unseated as of late, and I think that's why we're talking about it. But let's be realistic here. Over 100 million sold.
The first system to ever sell 100 million units was the first PlayStation.
The highest sold console in the history of gaming.
Over 150 million units on that one.
Just between the two of these is incredible.
Right. And what have we gone past the PS2? Are we at a higher number yet?
I think
we
the
have
PS2
not,
is
but
still-
we can touch upon what we were talking about at lunch today, which was fantastic. Which is how on the PS3, Sony basically created and beat HD DVD. Took Blu-ray to HD because of it.
I remember HD DVD was coming out, but the name HD DVD probably didn't do it any favors.
It did not.
Because people were like, I don't get it. It's like it's kind of like the Wii and the Wii U. Like they didn't brand right.
It wasn't brand right, but I mean, like, you also.
The Blu-ray discs are blue.
They were pretty, but there was also some
HD
insidious
DVD was
marketing
less
there.
expensive.
I actually bought my parents a PlayStation 3 because they wanted a Blu-ray player, and they went and like shopped around, and they were like crazy expensive, and so they just got a PS3.
It was a fantastic
cheaper.
price.
And that, I've always said this for years and years, that was the absolute best, most illegal thing they could have done. In the US, they've got some things called anti-dumping laws, which essentially means that you can't sell a product for below its cost with the expressed effort of getting rid of competition, which is 100% what they did. They got rid of the competition, which was HD DVD, specifically supported by Microsoft. They had an external adapter you could plug into the Xbox 360, and they had it built into their console, and they absolutely used that to win the war.
It's just brilliant. It's
Losing hundreds of dollars on every
think,
console.
Think about, all right, so there were some drawbacks to the PS3, but that was more for
Like its original price.
Well, the original price was horrible, but if you
Was
think
it like
about it,
600 or something?
it was over that, man. I think when it first came out.
I remember I waited
pushing
in
almost
line.
7, right?
I waited in line to buy one, not because I wanted one, because I was going to sell it on eBay for triple the price. I'm one of those guys.
Yes, he is.
No, they had, on launch, they had 2 models. They had a 20 gig and a 60 gig. They were $499 and $599 respectively. I bought 3 of the $599 ones, sold 2 of them, which allowed me to actually afford the 3rd one.
They're scumbag resellers.
Absolutely. I did wait 4.5 days in line in front of the Best Buy in Bangor, Maine.
I hate you and love you at the same time.
I was in a Walmart in Connecticut, and I was the 14th in line, and they had 13 units.
Ooh.
But fun fact, the guy that got the PlayStation ahead of me got shot in the parking lot. So, yay.
Sounds
Well,
like a
that's
win-win.
might be
Look it up, Manchester, Connecticut, shot for a
maybe
PS3.
you shouldn't be talking about that because maybe you were the one pulling the trigger. I don't know. You
No,
got yours,
no,
I
no.
was
You
mine was
got
a second.
motive.
You sure just put yourself in implication.
What they did
I don't
do
know how to
on
use a
that for those 2 models, those were. This is something that's sort of back and forth on Sony. Those 2 were both PS1 and PS2 compatible, so they had backwards compatibility. Obviously, the PS1 wasn't backwards compatible because there wasn't anything
It was
before
the
that.
first.
PS2, it's a DVD player. You got PS2 games. It can play PS1 games. Then the PS3, it can play for the. And let me just think for a second. The 20 gig and the 60 gig, it had built-in hardware to allow it to play PS2 games and PS1 games. Then they followed that up with an 80 gig model that had software emulation to do backwards compatibility. So it had all PS1 games, only some PS2 games, most of them. Then following that, they came out with another 80 gig one to make things more confusing that only played PS3 and 1 games and wasn't at all backwards compatible.
It's a weird trend in gaming,
is.
I've noticed. We were talking about the Nintendo Wii the other day because we do some competition gaming. We supply stuff for competition gaming, especially for Smash Melee. And not every Wii has the GameCube port. And we were kind of talking about that. It's kind of like, how cheap did you really need to get this console? Because they just completely removed
Wait, they made
that.
Wii's without that?
Yes,
They
they
did.
did.
I have
Yes,
never
they
seen
did.
that.
And when you're trying to buy Wii's for cheap, trying to do competitions and host them, it sucks when you find out you got 10 of those in a bundle you just bought.
Oh, boy.
Because now you're stuck with, 10. I don't want to keep going on about Nintendo, but it does suck. I'm not gonna lie. But it is amazing how they kept taking away. I never understood that. But however, whatever they were doing, it just
Well, how are
worked.
they going to sell you their HD bundles?
Yeah, this is true.
You gotta, if you could still play the original Crash Bandicoot easy, then
Yeah,
who's
you're
gonna
good.
buy the
Yeah.
shiny new one?
And then PS4, just PS4 games.
Yeah.
Yep.
They didn't even try.
No.
Well, I can't talk bad about the PS4.
No.
The only reason why PS4 is in trouble on any level is because the Switch was just so damn successful. As far as the
Not the best first party support.
no.
I mean,
Well, they're
either
doing fine.
but it's not like.
But they didn't have a reason. I mean, that's the interesting thing about the Switch. So here we are. We're talking about the
I mean,
rise.
compared to the Switch, at least, Nintendo's just like first party. We're gonna give it so many, and then
Well, I mean,
PlayStation's like we have like 3 or 4. We'll
The
keep
Switch
doing.
came out just over a year ago. Both the Xbox the Xbox One, because they named everything in a completely sequential order.
That's right.
The Xbox, the 360, the One, sure. But you're looking at a little over 35 million units on the Xbox One currently, although they've stopped reporting numbers because they're so embarrassed about it. PS4
They have even worse first party support.
is over 70 million,
Xbox,
so they're
PlayStation,
doing well over more than double and coming out at the same time. Switch is nipping at the heels, but it's been out a little over a year instead of. I mean, the other 2 came out in 2013, so
I'm interested to see if and when I know it's gonna be a long time before we see a PlayStation 5, but I am interested to see if you're gonna see PlayStation get back on top.
they're on top. They're on top.
Well, they
right
are
now.
on top, but the
Yeah, for how long?
PlayStation 4 has been out so much longer than the Switch, and the numbers, just looking at what the Switch is doing, it's just amazing.
And they haven't even put out the games everybody wants yet.
This is true.
Metroids and the Pokemon.
This is true. I can't.
And the
disagree.
Smashes and the
Smash
others.
5.
Yeah.
If Smash 5 is done right, it's you know. I mean, that community is just diehard.
They are.
I mean, they're probably never going to get off Melee, regardless of what comes out.
I got a lot of respect for the Melee community. That's
Yeah,
an
sure.
18-year-old game that's just been going and going and going. I mean, you're talking to a guy
They
that's still.
broke that game to pieces.
They really have. I mean,
just watching them play.
I love going to Melee tournaments. We spent a lot of time in there. We're both not Melee players, so, I mean, but we do appreciate that community. I'm not gonna lie, I really do.
You can say that, or you can say we're hardcore Melee players that aren't very good. Either
Well,
way, it's the
that would
same
probably
thing.
be an even better statement. I love Melee. I'm just horrific at it. I will never win a trophy, ever.
All right, back to Sony and
Yeah,
their
we digress
station
there.
of play.
So they had those 4 main consoles, which they've branded so well to make you know exactly which
How
one is
upset
which.
would you be if the PS5 was something stupid? Like just a
I'd
different
be angry
name.
as hell. I mean, I've been a PlayStation guy since PlayStation 1. I mean, like,
And they were like, it's
it worked.
I mean, if they were listening to fans and their gamer
Go
tags,
box.
I'm sure it would be the XXX PlayStation 420 XXX. But
it got me sold.
it's going to be the
and
PS5.
like randomly capitalize the X's.
Yeah. I like it's good. Good stuff. But I don't know what Sony's going to have to do with the PS5. The problem is, I think, between PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo now, is there really much of a difference between Xbox and PlayStation? They played it really
I think
safe.
PlayStation has a lot better.
I think
games.
they have a lot better, but
Like, what's Xbox putting out? Halo and
Halo and Gears of War.
Gears of
Forza.
War.
Even
Forza
then,
exclusive.
yeah.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is, I look back at the console wars between Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. Now
I mean,
that
Sony
was
just got Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Is that coming out on the X? That's just PS4, right?
So that's because they own Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like they own.
I thought they own the film rights. So
right,
they also own
yeah.
the game rights. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But at the same time, Marvel made the new Spider-Man movie. And
Right, but no, Sony made it, but Marvel had a lot of hand in it. Well, they produced it. It's
Yeah,
stupid
it's a
and
mess.
It's getting weird.
It's
But they're still putting out a Venom movie that has nothing to do.
Don't
Spider-Man.
get me. Why are you trying to get me off topic? All right.
Sorry.
I'm so
Sorry.
excited
But-
about
so
Venom.
they've got a Spider-Man game coming out that looks good, looks great.
I mean-
and they've had the what just came
God
out?
of
God
War.
of War.
Oh, that's sold, I think,
Just
faster than
so
any
good.
other
I tell you
game.
what,
Yeah.
it was a nice job.
It was a
that
good
game is great.
They have Last of Us. Last of Us 2 is coming out soon.
Last of Us, I think, is one of the most beautiful games ever made. I really do like that game a lot.
They've got some trilogies
PlayStation
coming
All-Star
out.
Racings.
All
How
right,
could I
all right.
forget?
So
Well, they got the Spyro trilogy coming out.
Oh, yeah.
that is I'm really excited
Oh,
about.
Crash
was an
Crash did
awesome
great.
Crash.
Didn't Crash come out on other systems though?
Yeah, but now we got Spyro. I mean, if they're listening, they'll come out with a Sly Cooper one.
I thought they did. No, they didn't.
I
Or
think
was- there was not a
everyone's saying they're
remaster?
gonna. They'll do a trilogy for everything that there was a trilogy. They'll do a remake of God of
I
War,
actually-
the
I'm
first
actually-
3, maybe Onimusha.
I was gonna
I'd
say
like
I'm
that.
actually say I'm a big fan of actually the HD remakes. Like I'm a big fan of that. Like I love when they take these series that we did love and they just did make them awesome, even more
Yeah.
awesome. I'm okay with it, man. The
I was
Crash
glad
Bandicoot
that
thing
they
was big.
went in a new direction with God of War. I was like, ooh,
Well,
a new.
well,
something
yeah. I
new.
mean, it's nice to keep it on new
grew up
terms. but
grow up the character,
yeah, I'm cool with it.
I'm what the industry might call a sucker. So I was buying HD remakes before they were HD remakes, when they were coming out with the special Zelda games on the GameCube. Not high def, mind you, but remakes of the old one in those special packages when you buy Zelda games. Loved the remakes of Shadow of the Colossus, the Eco. Those were beautifully done. Can't say enough good things about those. I'm the guy that's bought Ocarina of Time 6 times.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
Yeah, no,
You've
you're
got a problem.
shocked. You're absolutely shocked.
Speaking of PlayStation, pretty excited about. I'm also not that, but what about Street Fighter 30th anniversary?
Wow, I haven't heard much about that.
I
They're
know,
not really
right?
advertising it too much.
I
Not
don't
at
know.
all milking
I
that.
still have to pick it up, but I'm geeking out over this one, man. I'm sorry, Street Fighter. I love everything about it. I'm just really excited about it. I don't know.
They are doing that for all it's worth. Between the 30th anniversary, they're doing, of course, they did a remake of a special Nintendo and Super Nintendo cartridge, limited edition. I think it had something like 5,500 games or 5,000 games, $100 a piece. They've also got.
You're still gonna buy it. Don't lie.
It's not important.
They're just throwing it out there.
They
He
did
can still be annoyed.
It's
did a
As
fun-
he's like,
Oh, I curse while I'm
give
online.
it to me. I
They
want
even
it.
did a USB drives. They teamed up and did an official release of USB drives that have Street Fighter characters in their death poses. They're doing every outlet they can to support this whole 30th anniversary.
I don't know. I think it's actually, side note, I do want to throw this out there, out to everybody out there watching. Something pretty cool about I got a personal family story about Street Fighter. My sister met her husband over Street Fighter 2, arcade machine. He didn't have the courage to ask her out, so they were at a diner, and the guy just threw quarters up there. And then he saw her the next night, and they kept playing Street Fighter for the next week, and before you know it, he finally grew a set and actually asked her out, and then they got married. So I just, by the way, that's what I'm thinking. I might have to buy them the 30th anniversary. Throwing it out there. He's a good guy. Aw. Had to throw something sweet into the show.
All right, back to filthy criticism. PlayStation. What don't we like about it? Are we being general? We want to pick a system?
For me, it's their portables.
I forgot all about those terrible things.
I find that the PS1.
Didn't they discontinue the newest
They did.
one?
The Vita.
The Vita.
The Vita is now discontinued.
Wasn't it only downloadable, like no discs?
No, it had.
Well,
it
you
had
still
little
got
cartridges.
limited
you
run
had
though.
to-
You still got limited run. There's still games being produced for the Vita. It's just on a really amazing company, limited run. It's I don't know if everyone's familiar with limited run. Their name is self-explanatory. They do very small batches of games. A lot of them, they bring them to physical copy. A lot of these were DLC. Great company. I really recommend you guys check them out. But to buy something off their site's impossible because they'll make like 2,000 copies and then they're gone.
Well, if you're in the area, I know Video Game New York always has
Yes.
a limited stock of limited run games.
Yes. Video Games New York is a place, if you are in Manhattan, I recommend you guys go check it out. Their store is quite literally, it's a museum, and their pieces are museum quality. And they always get the best. They're actually producing games now as well, officially licensed game for the Dreamcast again. So Video Games New York, definitely a spot you need to check out.
But yeah, they had the PSP to start with, and they had the bright idea.
That one was cool. I don't think they had enough games for
TV.
it, though.
They had discs.
PSTV.
They had discs.
Yeah,
You put
not the
it in
smartest.
In a portable. I worked
You guys
at Best
remember the
Buy back in
Walkman?
the day, and I had someone come back and say that the game they bought wouldn't play. They're like, well, I took it out of its case, I took it out of its second case, put the disc in the system, and it wouldn't play at all.
They broke the proprietary case.
Like, I'm going to stop you at second case.
The second case.
I think my
must have
complaint.
struggled.
They really did.
I think my biggest complaint with PlayStation now is that, well, I know we're all still getting to know each other, but I'm a diehard retro gamer. I'm a big time collector, as is Kevin, just Kevin. My biggest problem with PlayStation is not really a complaint about the company, but I find that the PS1 games, going back now and revisiting them, you can see how the games are too dark. You know what I mean? Like the camera angles kind of suck on them. But I get it. It was experimental at the time.
Oh yeah.
But that's probably my biggest complaint. But that's just for playability now. I do like PlayStation. I've got no problem with it.
They're definitely my second favorite
I didn't like getting all my information stolen.
game company. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
the best.
I mean, I was waiting for
then,
someone to bring it up.
Honestly, who isn't leaking all of our information to everyone anymore?
Every day when I wake up,
But
I
that's-
search the internet to find out who's leaked my information.
What I'm looking at on my phone is my business, and if I were to get my information accidentally leaked out there, I'm fine with. But to have a company do it? How many people was it?
Oh, I don't
Everyone?
know. A lot.
Everyone on the planet?
It's no Yahoo or Xperia.
Yeah.
But
Or what's the
like 30
the
million
credit
or something.
company?
Xperia.
Oh, was
yeah.
it Xperia?
Yo, that was pretty good.
Or Xperion, sorry.
Xperia. That makes more sense. I think Xperia sounds like a
Come find out your credit score because it means nothing now.
travel agent.
But yeah, that was a big boo-boo on PlayStation's part, having
Oopsies.
having all of our information hacked. Any more?
You guys
complaints?
remember PlayStation? What was it? Home or like?
You
It
talking
was
about
their shitty virtual reality where it tried to be like the other. What's that? Second Life. And you go into a little game and it was bad.
No, it was not good.
So yeah, there was home,
That was-
but
that
now
was
there's
the-
VR.
Good. I'm glad
Which is
it
very
is
different.
advanced.
we talk about some fond memories of PlayStation?
Kingdom Hearts 2.
How about taking your Doom disc out and putting Rage Against the Machine in your PS1 and killing demons while listening to Rage Against the Machine?
Oh, yeah,
How
you could do
amazing
that.
was the fact that this was a CD player? We actually have, Kevin, he's going to flip this around and show you that this is a later model PS1. But if you were to get the original PS1,
yeah,
it wasn't just
I'm
for
gonna
music.
tweak this out because
you having a hard time here?
I really am. They didn't
He's got
make
very
these to actually come off.
Very dainty fingers.
They are. They're delicate,
They're very
like
delicate.
two swans just fighting to get this. So there's another port here that it totally exists. Maybe a little sweaty at this. Why don't you?
I put glue
I
in
was
it.
gonna have him open this just to show how things open.
Could you need some help here? Could I? You need some help?
Clearly was designed.
This system was designed
Right?
at the
That's
time
what
it was
I'm
a
saying.
CD
All right.
player.
All right, hold
Thank
on.
God, this is getting funny.
Ah, I had it! Oh, you eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Boom.
This is the back of what the PlayStation used to look
Sounds like sadness and regret.
Here's the hard stuff to look at, but they had some ambitions. There's a serial port on that side. They did a couple things with that. They actually had a memory card you could plug into the serial port. That was pretty fun. There's another cable in the back there that allows you to connect to another PlayStation as long as you're LANed up. I mean, it's not with a LAN adapter, mind you, but the two consoles have to plug into each other to play against each other.
Oh boy.
So you can play, I think, some Twisted Metal or stuff like that. So, I mean, they had some ambitions. They wanted to leave themselves some leeway in case they came out with
They
something
had a hell of a
really
run.
cool. 100 million.
100 million, 11 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so like their ambition
It's like
was
$1 million a year.
It was it's $1 million. Better than back to Nintendo. Better than Nintendo with the average lifespan's 4.5 for a console. The important thing I want to talk about with the PS1 at the time was the original models. It was just superior audio. It wasn't just designed for gaming. It was a CD player, and when this came out, that was huge for all you kiddies out there who don't understand what it's like to have to buy music on an actual physical thing. But it was huge. I mean, so it was a juggernaut. And then let's talk about the brilliance of that. Let's talk about the brilliance we touched upon with a DVD
like
player.
you said, they
in this
probably
model.
don't actually understand what that is, but CDs, they're kind of like, again, if you're too young for
It's like
this,
a pancake you can't eat.
it's like a cassette that plays iTunes.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
There
Bring
you
in
go.
cassettes. If they don't know what a CD is, they'll know what a cassette is.
It's like a cloud, but a really
So you get this
tiny cloud.
8-track, right? And then you take out the important bits and you just keep the wiggly wobbly.
So you've got a
Did you say
wax
8-track?
cylinder that goes on
I
a
think
video
it
game
changed, then
console.
no one that's worse.
That was the joke,
I
Jay.
know, I'm just calling you out on it, man. You think you're a comedian? It's a comedian.
Where were we? Talking about the PS2. Brilliant with the DVD player. Also
Love it.
cheaper than most DVD players at the time.
Absolutely.
And it played great.
Let's talk about how we touched upon it in our first episode.
Used to be much bigger. That's the
This
slim.
this is the other thing that killed Nintendo. Right, Nintendo's biggest mistake we
Well, that
talked about was
was
the
the
GameCube
GameCube,
not
yeah.
having a DVD compatibility.
Now they did their stupid proprietary mini discs.
Yeah, this did not. Let's talk about why this system did so well also against it at its time, the major competitor, Nintendo, was the fact that you can use your CD or DVD to make the games on, which meant that your
So cheap.
your third-party support was massive. This library, can I get a little passionate about this?
No.
I think no, let's not do it.
No, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Including the internet, like including the Japanese, the European, and the Brazilian markets, it's almost 4,000 titles, if not over, for this console. This is the PS2, by the way, we're talking about. This is the second iteration of it, PS2. I have a hard time complaining about Sony. That's why I want to jump all over the good things about it.
There's so few things that they did wrong. I mean, you're really strapping your brain. Maybe you go to
Talk controller? Would you like talk controller?
I mean, maybe the Sony Ericsson PlayStation phone.
Oh yeah, that might not be good. It was maybe a bad idea.
Oh, you know, we can talk about how when Nintendo took off into the casual market and Microsoft and Sony were like, we're going to get some too. And they had those stupid wands with the blow-up balls that lit up, or I don't know. What were they called?
Oh, what the hell are those?
PlayStation
Sony
Move?
Motion or Move.
Oh, what the hell was the
yeah.
name? I can't. I'm on this.
Oh,
it is also
I can picture the
150 degrees in
controller.
here.
They also jumped in with
Looked like a lightsaber, but
It
round.
did, but,
round.
and they would like, oh, it changes colors.
and they got their little
Who cares?
camera out.
Or like how the back of the controller when you're playing games changes colors, but it's like, well, how does that? It's facing away from me.
Makes no sense.
Maybe it's for the other people in the room. There's like immersion.
So you could put a cool sticker over it, which actually I saw some pretty cool stickers
Actually,
for it.
that reminds me of
custom
a
controller
good
market's off the
footnote
chain.
for console history. Right that time when the PS3 was coming out, when they came out, they didn't have rumble in their controllers.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
They were in the middle of a battle in the courtroom with a company called Immersion, they were suing both Microsoft and Sony for their rumble technology. Nintendo had their own proprietary rumble that wasn't at all related, so they weren't in the lawsuit. So Microsoft did a pretty neat thing, which was they settled and bought a stake in the company, Immersion. They're like, yeah, okay, yeah, no, I get that. We'd like to own you.
Yeah, it's smart.
Sony dragged it on for years and years and years and eventually lost. So they had to pay back fees, an amount of money, and then licensing for all of the rumble technology going forward, a percentage of which went to Microsoft.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
I forgot about that story actually. You know the brilliant, amazing thing about the Sony PlayStation is if it wasn't for the PlayStation division, Sony would be out of business. I don't know, we haven't talked about that either. This has kept this company going.
Oh, you mean those movies they're putting out aren't doing so hot?
Shut your mouth.
Everything except for
The
Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 was the best thing they've ever done.
I love that film.
Yeah, more bad guys. Let's just throw Paul Giamatti in it at the end for no reason. Here we go.
I was saying that.
What movie doesn't need Paul Giamatti in a rhino mech suit for doing just a bad Russian accent?
Why? See, you're just trying to make me go off topic again. I can complain about that film till the end of my life.
I think he ruined Sideways.
Oh, what other terrible movie? What other what franchises do they even own at this point? None of them are like
I'd be
top
lying
tier.
if I said I know.
Universal,
which is probably a problem.
Between Universal and Disney, they
Oh yeah.
Well, Disney
and
just owns
Warner
everything
Brothers,
now.
yeah.
Hey,
Warner Brothers.
we could talk about what Disney's been screwing up lately.
oh, we'll wait for another episode.
Yeah, I think we should do a
talk
whole
about Disney
episode of that.
games.
No, we're
Yeah.
talking about video games here.
Yeah, wow.
So do you remember that Microsoft Kinect game for Star Wars? Where you had dancing Han Solo in it?
Oh, super off topic. Well, it looks like we are running out of steam.
Oh,
Are we running out of steam?
I think we are.
Speaking of Steam,
last
Valve
thoughts.
is...
Last thoughts on the PlayStation or Sony
You know what? I love it.
game.
I love it. A game?
No, like gaming, like not the
Like
movies.
overall?
The gaming
Overall?
sphere of Sony.
Thank you for picking up on the Super Nintendo controller, making it better. How about that?
I think they will have a PS5 in the year 2020. The PS4 will go on to gross around 110 million, making it their third out of 4 consoles to gross over 100 million units. That's my prediction.
You heard it here. The PlayStation 5 is coming.
Oh yeah.
Insider knowledge.
And it's gonna
'cause we
be-
can count to 5.
It's
It's
going
going to be named
using-
5.
Using
I would
proprietary
love for them to break that streak now.
green ray technology.
Green Ray. Can I thank them for keeping it in order? Can I?
Yeah.
Thank you. I get tripped
The
up.
least confusing of the consoles.
We talk to a lot of people about retro gaming. It sounds pretty silly when you have to talk about Xbox sometimes. Are you talking about the original one? The Xbox One? Oh no, I meant like the new one. Thank you, PlayStation, for keeping it in numerical order. Thank you.
Thank you.
5.
And yet people will still call them Nintendos.
Yes.
I'd like the Nintendo, please.
There's only one Nintendo. Nintendo will always be the Bitcoin of video game. There's a lot of other
Dogecoin.
currencies.
I think they're pushing that, yeah.
Yeah, they really are.
The Bitcoin of video.
The Bitcoin of it.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
It's hot.
It is hot. It's hot in here. A lot of bright lights and hopes and joy. Thank you for watching another episode of Pop Culture Preservation, where we talk about old video games, but mostly get off topic and talk about whatever comes to mind. This has been Jay.
Bye.
That's been Kevin.
Just Kevin.
I'm Kevin.
I've been Pat. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell, and send us your firstborn, and make us a Patreon, and then give us money on it. You know, all the YouTube crap. Thanks for tuning in.